The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, this is episode 4 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm Craig Williams.
And I'm Sean Thompson.
And today we're joined by a very special guest. His name is Corey Martin. If you don't know him, recognize him, ever met him before.
He's here to promote his new book.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming out never.
Oh, well, look for that to hit bookshelves soon. No, actually.
Only ebooks.
What, ebooks?
Ebooks.
Okay.
No Barnes & Noble.
Well, okay. If you haven't noticed by the fun table that we have set up and all the fancy things we're wearing, Corey's with us to talk about Mardi Gras. He is our
beads.
He's our resident expert on Mardi Gras. Why's that?
Well, I was born and raised on the West Bank in New Orleans, so I pretty much grew up on Bourbon Street without a fake ID.
Yeah. And Sean knows a lot about Mardi Gras too.
Because of green and purple and yellow. Those are the reasons I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about it.
I know nothing at all.
So we're going to talk about Mardi Gras specifically at Universal, if I also didn't really get that point across.
Well, this is the Universal show, so.
It is, but I mean, maybe we're branching out. So.
New Orleans edition.
New Orleans edition, yeah.
Nolans.
But, so Mardi Gras started a couple weeks ago on February 8th. And it's running all the way until May 31st. I
always find it funny. Yeah. It runs straight through Lent.
Yeah.
Because Mardi Gras is like the last celebration before Lent begins,
yeah.
And you can celebrate straight through Lent at Universal.
Yeah.
So,
and
forget Lent.
I don't know what that means. I'm not Catholic.
That means you give up something, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, that's what Mardi Gras is. It's Fat Tuesday, so it's basically your last hurrah.
Okay.
Before you basically fast through Lent.
Lent is after
you give
Mardi
up
Gras.
something, and usually it's it start off with like fatty meats and fatty foods. So you would just indulge the last day on Fat Tuesday because you're preparing yourself for the whole fast.
Okay.
But nowadays you can give up things like beer and
you're giving up
candy.
Activia, I think.
I've given up sushi.
Yeah.
Things you like.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can celebrate all through.
So that's good information for everyone who didn't know out there.
Yeah.
So good job.
There's a meaning behind it.
Okay.
I thought it was just a marketing promotion to get people to come to Universal and see bands and have good old cooking and all that good stuff in the parade. But we'll start with Mardi Gras at Universal, obviously, and talk about the atmosphere. So I've been there for the past couple years. Corey, I know you've been going for a while, but Sean, this was your first year ever seeing Mardi Gras. What did you think of kind of the general atmosphere? What did you hope that you would have saw that you didn't see? What were you happy to see?
Well, I wanted to see Robin Thicke, but he's got better things to do, evidently.
Yeah.
It was his voice.
It was his voice, yes. Yeah. Not divorce. That's mean. So anyway, I actually went twice. We went the first night. It was kind of rainy, and I think you guys gave me the impression that wasn't normal. It was kind of a bad representation of it because it was kind of dreary. It wasn't very crowded. So I didn't really count that as my first time. I went the weekend after. It was a totally different experience. There were lots of people there. It was really fun, loud. The band was playing outside, which was really cool. Lots of food everywhere. To be honest, it was kind of surprising to me that wasn't an upcharge because it seemed kind of like a party night at Disney because there was other stuff going on. Yeah. There was a special parade. There was a concert that you could see.
Oh, and that's a good thing to mention too. Mardi Gras is included with your park ticket. So even if you have a one-day ticket only going into Universal Studios, Mardi Gras is still included. So you get to see the parade, you get to see the concert, even if it's a terrible person performing that night, like Cher Lloyd, whenever that happens at the end of May.
All of England's going to be upset with you.
And some people come just for the concert.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were really upset about Robin Thicke being canceled because a lot of people drove down or even flew down just to see him.
Well, and I know you were upset that we didn't get to stick around for Daughtry on that first night.
You know, it'd have been nice to see, but it was, the weather was so bad. I've seen them so many times. I'm not that much of a fan where I'm just going to stand out in the rain and be miserable. Yeah. I've seen them before.
That's a good point. So what are your kind of impressions on Mardi Gras compared to the actual Mardi Gras, since you're the only person here who's seen real Mardi Gras?
This is more of a, like, for me, it's a taste of home. This year I am going to the real Mardi Gras. This time next week we're recording on a Tuesday, so I looked at my watch, like I don't know what day it is. Yeah. So we're recording on Tuesday. Next week at this time I will be walking through New Orleans in a walking crew. The Pete Fountain Walking Club. I'll be walking through. So I've been to Mardi Gras. I've been in Mardi Gras. This is a taste of home. There are a lot of similarities between this and the real Mardi Gras. One, specifically the parade. Mm-hmm. These are real floats. These are not just some floats that were just thought up and put together by a bunch of interns in the back. These were designed by Universal and built by a company called Blaine Kern. And this is on the West Bank of New Orleans. And we actually used to take field trips there in high school and elementary school to go check out the floats being made. So these are real authentic floats. The other thing is the concerts, not as much. The concerts are a plus, but I like the original musicians that come in, the Zydeco musicians that come in. That gives that real feel of being in New Orleans. There's a variety of food. I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit. A variety of food that gives you that little bit of taste. It's their version. It's their version of I get to look at the camera. It's their version of Louisiana, of New Orleans food, but it's not as authentic as I would prefer. So I like the atmosphere of it.
Yeah.
The parade, the music, the atmosphere, and it's not Mardi Gras.
It's like Mardi Gras light.
It's not Mardi Gras without drinks.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras light.
Yeah. Well, kind of the first thing that you get hit with coming in before you even hit the park is you have Fat Tuesday and Pat O'Brien's up in City Walk. Whenever you're walking through, you kind of have to go out of your way, but that's where you could almost start your night off. Both of those originated in New Orleans, correct?
Exactly. You can actually end. I would prefer to end my night at Pat O's.
Oh, yeah. That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, end it there. Just save the. You could drink the regular stuff. Don't bother with Voodoo Brew, whatever they serve there. That's just made up stuff that they serve at Mardi Gras at Universal.
Oh,
it's just a bunch of. Save your.
You get in the specialty.
I see.
cup.
I didn't know that was the name of it. Yeah.
If this was a real Mardi Gras show, these things would be full. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do Mardi Gras wise, New Orleans wise at Universal. There's Patos, there's Emeralds. There's a lot of. There's Mardi Gras. This whole event. There's a lot of stuff there, but yeah, Pat O'Brien's is definitely a plus. It was actually the original one in New Orleans. That's what this one at Universal is modeled after.
Yeah,
that one in the French Quarter.
It's really fun there. But so you go through City Walk, you walk into Universal Studios. The first thing you kind of encounter is actually a lot more decorations this year. They kind of changed all the lampposts to have the green and the yellow and the purple, and then
there's like jester hats on everything. They have like those used car salesmen. They make a joke on Family Guy. I don't know what they're called, but they will dance around. They're like those big tubes with the air going through where they wiggle around.
The wacky wavy.
Yeah. They have those up on the buildings, and they're like red, purple, and yellow, or green, purple, and yellow. They're the colors of Mardi Gras. So.
Well, and then they have a lot of the parade performers walking around,
and they're all on stilts.
Well, not all of them.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, a lot of them are on stilts. That's an important part of the parade, and we'll get to that whenever we do hit there. But like the first night that we came in, it was raining, and the stilt performers aren't allowed out whenever that's happening. It's obviously unsafe for them to do that. But yeah, they're all there. Do you see people in costumes kind of like that at Mardi Gras? Or is that...
everywhere. Wearing a lot and not a lot. A lot of body paint, but everybody pretty much dresses up. It's rare that you see people without beads on or some sort of fun costume. That's the fun thing, is seeing the different types of extravagant costumes they have, and not so extravagant.
Minimal costumes, you might say. Yeah.
Well, so after you like make your way through them, they pose for pictures. You can get as many as you want. Half of them aren't even really dressed, and that kind of plays into the whole family-friendly attitude of Mardi Gras. They do welcome families, and they try to make it not be about like, okay, everyone's just going to get drunk here and get wild. It's for everyone, but you are going to see, girls with their stomachs exposed.
There's lots of stomachs. There's lots of cleavage.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you see this
Yeah.
at the beach or a water park
Sure.
anyway, so I don't mind it.
Yeah.
You're fine with it. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was over the top to the extent where I'd worry about.
But that is a big part of this experience here at Universal. Like you said, when we went for the first night, it was raining, and it's kind of you walking through. It's like, okay, where's all the where are all the stilt walkers?
Exactly, yeah.
It's kind of like a ghost town that night.
But then you make your way all the way to the back in the New York area where they have the French Quarter courtyard, and that's where you find all the food. That's where you find the authentic bands straight from New Orleans, and that's where you kind of want to spend all of your time if you really want to get into the mood of Mardi Gras before the parade and the concert happen. But
I mean, that was pretty crowded early on. Like I think probably like 4:30 or 5, that started to be popular. People were getting drinks there just along that street, the courtyard. Yeah. There are decorations everywhere. We mentioned kind of the jester hats on the lights. There's just like beads in the windows. There's like wind chimes everywhere. That's where the stage is set for the band. I think they went on pretty early, like at 6. I don't know the exact time, but they played fairly early. So it was just a nice party atmosphere even before the parade would start and everything.
And the bands are definitely the biggest draw. Once they go on, you can actually see people just start to migrate towards where they're playing. The first time we went, we got to see Soul Project, which they were okay, I think. I didn't really prefer them. I didn't feel like I was getting in the Mardi Gras spirit by watching them. But
well, you have to really understand that music to really to feel like. For me, it put me in the mood.
Sure.
Because when I hear Zydeco music with the the accordions and the washboards, that really puts me in the Mardi Gras spirit. So that's why I say that those musicians, even more than a concert, put me in the mood and take me back, because I know where they're from. They are from New Orleans. They're not just somebody in Central Florida.
I thought the band we saw was pretty good, actually. It wasn't quite Zydeco, I don't think, because there was no there was no like washboard or whatever.
It doesn't have to be washboard to be Zydeco. It's just the style of music.
Okay,
more upbeat.
But it was enjoyable. They were having fun with it. And
the only reason I say that is then the next time I went back, I got to see a band called Rockin' Jake, and they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like they had the accordion, and it was really upbeat. It was good stuff. I don't think they actually had an accordion though. I think they were playing it on a keyboard.
Oh wow.
Yeah, one of those fake things.
Yeah.
But
kazoo.
Yeah, and like I said, this is where you're gonna find all the bars that are set up specifically for Mardi Gras, and they do have stuff like the Voodoo Brew, which is energy drink that they sell it's got a little bit of alcohol in it. It wasn't bad. I tried it just to get the cup, because then after that, each refill of it is like $3 off, and you get way more than you would for a normal drink.
And that's the cup right here.
Yeah, that's the cup right there. So,
for those of you watching,
it was $10 for the first one, and then after that, I think $7 refills. And if you find the right bar in the area, they'll make your drink nice and strong. And
you don't have to get that signature drink with that cup. You can order just regular, any kind of mixed drink. They have a semi full bar. I mean, they have
they've got about like maybe 6 or 7 different options.
Sure.
And there's always beer that can get put in there too, and you get about 3 or 4 more ounces of beer with that fill than you will with another one. But then they have the authentic Mardi Gras food there. Some of the options are the Voodoo chicken tenders, which are just buffalo chicken strips. I'm guessing that's not authentic New Orleans cooking.
You can throw Cajun or Voodoo in front of anything, and I guess it just becomes
the authentic New Orleans chilies.
Yeah, exactly.
Applebee's.
What's the difference between Cajun and Creole?
Creole is more of a mix. It's a mix of it's a mix between Italian, Caribbean, French. The Cajun is more of a southern country style of Louisiana, more of the French Canadian. So it's those two. Like for jambalaya, for example, there are two different varieties of jambalaya. There's the Creole version of jambalaya, which is normally the red jambalaya, where there's a lot of tomato in it. Then there's the Cajun jambalaya, which is more of a brown. They don't use tomato in it because it's more south of New Orleans, so they don't use a lot of.
What makes it brown?
Because there's no tomato in it. Just the ingredients just makes it look brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one you had, the jambalaya at Mardi Gras,
It was yellow.
it was
So
yellow.
I don't know where.
What is that, like saffron?
Saffron?
Well, I mean, there are different colors. I mean, you can give 20 people a jambalaya recipe or a gumbo recipe, and I guarantee you, all 20 are going to taste very different and look very different.
Huh.
They're all going to just look different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they have other options like shrimp po' boy, which I tried that. I wasn't impressed with it. There was barely any shrimp in the fried shrimp pieces. Andouille sausage, red beans and rice. The universal classic for all their special events, the twisted tater.
I love these things. The twisted taters.
Yeah.
They like cut a potato in a spiral and then stick it they put it on a big stick.
Universal definitely has their standards they use.
Yeah.
Even for Halloween Horror Nights, they do those. You know, there's pizza, they chicken tenders. There's always going to be that standard food, but they just, for Mardi Gras, they throw a voodoo name on it.
Voodoo.
Cajun
Just put
name
voodoo
on
in
it.
front of everything.
So, and like we mentioned, they also have jambalaya, shrimp gumbo. The shrimp gumbo was actually good. That was one of my favorite things I tried. And then one of the most popular parts, the actual fresh made beignets, and then king cake, which I had never tried king cake before. I didn't know what king cake was until Corey explained it to us. And
Yeah, it was actually started in the 1800s, and they created this to celebrate King's Day. And they would, you make this cake made with brioche bread, and it's usually there's a stuffing inside, but the more common is just a cinnamon sugar, and you kind of braid it, roll it, and then you top it with like an icing, and then the Mardi Gras colors on top, and then you put nowadays they put a baby inside, and the meaning behind the baby is that if you got the baby at the party, you would have to throw the next party. Nowadays it's, if you get the baby, you buy the next king cake. But before they started doing the little plastic baby, they would use bean, trinkets, or gold. I can almost promise that they didn't have a baby in these at Universal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's no chance of finding
Well,
something.
you don't want
Like a choking
somebody
hazard.
who doesn't expect a plastic baby in
okay,
their
so it is
food.
a plastic baby.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was.
It represents baby Jesus.
What would it be?
Baby Jesus, yeah.
We won't go there.
Weird.
But then they also have your authentic henna and palm readings in that whole courtyard
Is
area
that
as
common
well.
in real Mardi Gras?
Palm readings.
Palm readings, yeah.
And henna, I've never.
Okay.
Not really.
You're not a fan
that
of
seems more
henna?
Moroccan.
Yeah, it's just not for. I mean, people get their, psychics and all that stuff is very
Yeah.
big in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Voodoo and all that
The
stuff.
Shadow Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then if you don't want to wait for the parade to buy beads or to catch the beads that are thrown, you can always just buy them, along with a lot of other merchandise, T-shirts. This year they've added a lot of Minion merchandise for some reason. I'm sure that it's selling really well because everyone loves Despicable Me. But yeah, you can also buy stuff if that's what you're interested in. But let's move on to the parade because that's kind of the big part of the night.
The parade was my favorite thing, for sure.
Yeah, the parade is probably up there with my favorite parade of any of the Orlando parks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know what else other parades there even are right now. There's none. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's others, but
No,
it's the only parade to see.
it is.
It'd be great if the Disney parades threw beads.
They would.
Can you imagine?
People would probably sue. They throw a lot of beads from these floats. Like, it's to the point where I was taking photos, so I was in like super camera mode. So I had my camera pointed out towards the floats, and there were multiple occasions when beads would fly around my lens and just get caught, like just hanging from my lens.
Oh, and it's like they aim for it.
Of course.
And
I would
I'm sure
too.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the parade starts in Hollywood, and then it moves all the way down through Hollywood, comes around to Production Central in front of the stage, and Rip Ride Rocket, and then goes past the Mummy and everything in New York. And before it would just kind of go out right beside Beetlejuice, but now it's looping all the way back around past Transformers and going back out of where it started in. So there should be no issue in ever finding a spot to watch the parade. Any place is really a good area. I know the first time we watched it in New York. That was my first time watching it there. Then the next time I went for the parade, it was in Hollywood. But I absolutely think that Hollywood's the number one place to watch it. They have more lighting effects than they do in New York.
Yeah.
The floats seemed like they would come alive at certain parts on that street just because of the lights that they had set up. But New York also wasn't bad. In Hollywood, that's where they have the little jesters area where you can take your kids and sit there, and they'll be more likely to hand beads to you and kind of toss them lightly.
This happens during the parade or throughout the entire night?
Just during the parade. No, it's just like a little closed off pen area, like a VIP spot. So if you just stood there the entire night, then you wouldn't see anything. You would just be stuck.
All right.
Yeah.
So the idea is, parents could take their small kids to this little pig pen and then
leave them.
Well, they stay there.
Oh, okay. And then as the parade goes by, they'll know not to like bombard them with the beads, but just like pat them on the head and hand them a bead, like the Grinch. Okay.
But so the people who are throwing the beads on the floats, those are actual day guests and people who get picked, people who sign up. So have you've been on a float before, right, Corey?
Yeah, I've been on them twice. They give you a set amount of beads. Well, first you go in, you line up, you find out, you have to go pick out your costume, usually some silk thing you just throw over the clothes you're wearing, and then you find out what float you're going to be on. You go and they show you the beads that you have for your parade. It's not unlimited. You just don't have boxes and boxes. You just have, these are your beads. Mm-hmm. You have to throw underhanded.
Which doesn't happen.
Very different from New Orleans.
Yeah, that's true.
We throw overhand and we throw bags at a time.
Okay.
You talk about getting bombarded. These beads are not thrown at Mardi Gras, but it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun that if you have a chance to do this at Universal, oh my God.
What's that process like?
Well, I know for annual pass holders, they can get an email that alerts them whenever, there's openings. All you have to do is go sign up. You might not get the one you want. You might not get one at all. But that's one option of getting on. And then I know on really slow days, they'll also go around and just pick people at random.
Really?
Okay. That's the only fair way to do it. So it's kind of like with the Macy's Day Parade and in Christmas time, they pick random people to hold the balloons. So they try to get people involved that are just walking around the park, might not know anything about it, but might make a better day for them. But the theme of this year's parade is Around the World in 80 Days. I don't know what the themes were any of the other years, but I know it this year. So that's good.
It's a step forward.
Yeah. Sean, do you want to go over the floats?
Sure, yeah. So they all kind of followed this theme, or at least I guess a couple of them did.
Three. Yeah, three of them are the ones that are themed for this Around the World.
Well,
okay.
Kind of. But I'll get to
kind of. Okay, I'll go through the list and then we can talk about them. So there's the Jester's Float, and then there's the Crew of Dionysus flying away, which had kind of like blimps on them, which looked really cool. The lighting was really nice on that one. There was one for India. There was one called Break New Ground, which was a train. China, the Lissa, which was a ship. It looked very similar to the Nautilus. Mm-hmm. There was the Mexico Day of the Dead, which was fantastic. It had kind of like the Dia de los Muertos figures on it with like the sugar skulls. It was really cool. The Riverboat, the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, which was really interesting. It had a big Louis Armstrong statue in the front of it. The King and Queen, and then finally the big alligator, which was a huge green float.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So whenever I went to the media event to learn more about the floats, the first thing they let us know was that the Jester's Float was starting off the parade, something that's different. Normally they'd have the riverboat start off the parade, but they kind of revamped the Jester's Float, made it a little more fancy, added new lighting effects, gave it a paint job. It's a beautiful way to start off the float. And then right after that comes the Crew of Dionysus. I don't know.
He's like the god of wine,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. He's just like Bacchus is the god of wine.
Okay.
Dionysus.
Greek versus Roman.
Okay.
Sort of.
So that's kind of like starting in New Orleans, Louisiana area. That's the start of the parade, and then you get on the flying machines and either the blimps or the hot air balloons or the plane. That takes you to India. So you're there. And then from there, you jump on the train, and that takes you to China. And then you get on the ship, apparently sail all the way around the world to Mexico, celebrate Day of the Dead. And then from there, the riverboat's supposed to be added in. I guess that takes you on a riverboat somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico, I guess.
It's a dangerous trip.
No, it's along the Mississippi.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would think, but Mexico and the Mississippi don't connect.
Well,
so
yeah.
But yeah, then you get back there and have the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, the King and Queen, the Gator. So that's kind of the 360 full circle around the world. And so that's where it comes into play with the other floats. They're not necessarily themed to it, but they had the floats from last year that they really loved, like the Day of the Dead and the India float, the China one, and they wanted to revamp them again. So that's how they
fit
came
them
up
into
with
this
one.
theme. Okay.
Yeah. See, I didn't go last year, so when I saw those this year, they were new to me, and I thought they were all a part of the theme. I thought they had 6.
Okay, yeah.
6 of those floats were all for this theme. It wasn't until I looked at some of the content from last year saying, well, okay, something's different.
Oh, I think it works perfectly, and they're beautiful. Like we said, the lighting effects are definitely have been vamped up, and now they have like steam being blown out of the train engine all the time, and just lots of different unique things.
There are a lot of effects. So in addition to like the beads that they're throwing, the floats will just like shoot off confetti at random moments, and it gets everywhere. But it looks so cool.
People think they're beads. They're trying to catch it.
Yeah.
Catch the
People are
confetti.
frantic. We should mention that people are frantic when they're trying to catch the beads.
Oh, they go nuts.
And I would also say that a lot of people want to be up front to you can be up front to see the parade, but people who throw the beads like to throw to the back. I know I do. I like to throw to the people in the back because I can aim to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not just
Only
throwing.
underhand.
Only underhand.
Yeah.
Until you're caught.
Until you're caught. But there was no shortage of beads. If you wanted to collect these beads, you could have gotten
Oh, absolutely. We saw people leaving
dozens.
Just their Mr. T type, next.
That was their goal. I want to look like Mr. T when I leave.
Purple, green, and gold. I just want gold.
Yeah. So then after the parade,
Yep.
they have the concert normally when people don't cancel from illness.
Yeah.
Or marital problems. And then so then everyone's just kind of like this big horde to the stage because everyone runs over there. Depending, I guess, if it's popular enough, people will kind of skip the parade. And if you go there just for the concert, they will just go straight there and get in line to see that. The night we were there, I actually have to look up his name because I didn't know. Thomas Rhett is the country artist that was there while we were there that night. I didn't know who that was.
It was one of the smallest crowds I've ever seen at a Mardi Gras concert.
He did a bunch of covers. At least we heard 3
Didn't he
songs.
open with like a rap song or
It was
something?
weird, but he's a country guy.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But he
But it
opened
was
up with
weird.
like a Little Wayne or something. I'm not sure what it
It
was.
was. He was channeling his inner Wayne. His little Wayne.
His inner Wayne.
His inner Wayne. That's weird.
We all have an inner Wayne,
We
don't
do. I think we should make that a hashtag.
Generally, they have
Tier.
good artists.
Okay, so coming up, we have Collective Soul, which I think will get a pretty big crowd.
I don't know any of their songs. I'm sure I know them if
I know because my
remember.
dad loves
Yeah.
them. So growing up, we would also always listen to
Yeah.
them. Foreigners coming, A Great Big World, Gavin DeGraw. Kelly Rowland will probably bring the biggest
Yeah.
crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
Destiny's Child. I mean, come on. Weezer's coming.
Who?
Leonard Skinner. Cool in the Gang. You know them from when you were a kid.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I have a shirt.
You do, yeah.
It's
So
cool.
I mean, there's big people coming. Cher Lloyd, The Roots are coming. Sans, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And then our favorite, Huey Lewis and the News.
I will be there early to get in line on May 31st.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's hip to be a square.
I have to be a square. I'm gonna have my buttons, my blazer with like the collar turned up and my rolled up sleeves.
Just got to go
80s
back
style.
in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
remember seeing Kid Rock perform there. That was something else. I mean, he had a stripper pole on the stage. Come on.
I think Huey Lewis will too, and he'll be on it.
The important thing to remember with the concerts too is the crowds that would generally listen to these bands are actually the ones who do come specifically for this. So if you
Right.
go on the Leonard Skinner night, you're going to see a lot of bikers, a lot of tougher looking people. And the one year I went to see Leonard Skinner there, they actually had to bring OPD in just to start doing crowd control. Normally it's just Universal workers
Right.
there. but like it got that out of hand that they couldn't control people. So it can get rough. So
exactly. That's a good point to make with families, is that you take a look at who's playing. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you want to channel your inner Wayne.
Because I'm sure it changes so much. His inner Wayne. Yeah.
You know? Heart was a good one.
I would like to see Heart.
Seeing Heart.
Yeah.
They were great. They brought a massive crowd.
I'm
I
sure.
couldn't even get close to the stage. I think I was back by Shrek
Okay.
watching
Wow.
them.
And you told me that if it's a really big crowd, sometimes they'll put up screens that show the concerts
Yeah.
in other areas of the park,
Yeah.
so that if you can't get close enough to the stage to watch it, they have other areas.
Yeah, the last time I remember seeing that, though, was for 30 Seconds to Mars, before Jared Leto was dressing up like a woman.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But
Yeah, got him awards.
he won a Golden Globe.
I know.
So, but no, it does happen on bigger acts. I'm sure it was going to happen for Robin Thicke, maybe. I don't know.
I have a feeling it probably would have.
Well, he canceled, so we'll never know.
We'll never know. I hope he's doing okay.
Me too.
But
Hope his voice is okay.
I know. He's got the
You
stomach
think it'll
bug.
come back?
kind of wrapping up, we already talked about your initial thoughts on it as a first timer. Like, are you excited to go back for other ones specifically for Mardi Gras, or just for concerts, or what?
Actually, both. So obviously there are a certain amount of concerts that I want to go see. Like we mentioned, Huey Lewis, I'd love to see, and there are a couple other ones in there that I would go specifically for the concert. But I also want to go just for the event. So try the food. I didn't get to try any of the food yet, so I want to try it. See the yellow jambalaya, but then try the drinks. Just go and have a good time, not worrying about covering anything. Just going and having fun. I think it'll be a different experience, and I think it would be nice.
Yeah.
It's included in your park admission, so it's not like
I know.
that's the thing that is so huge to me. It's like
That's the biggest plus. It's
free.
free.
The concerts. These people. That's cool to go to a free concert, and then also there's this other entertainment, the parade, and everything. So
You kind of already said that it's a good representation of what Mardi Gras is actually like in New Orleans, but for someone like me who's afraid to actually go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras because I don't want to get shot, stabbed, see things inappropriate. Is it like a good substitute?
Look, it's definitely it's family friendly, and I think that's an important thing to mention, that it's family friendly. But so can New Orleans. The New Orleans Mardi Gras can also be family friendly. You have to just be smart in New Orleans and where you're going. Just don't go roaming the streets. Go down side streets, not knowing where you're going, looking like a tourist. So it's a lot of things you hear, like the bad stuff about Mardi Gras. It's people roaming the streets at 4:00 in the morning, drunk, not knowing
how
where
do
they're
you
going.
look like a tourist during Mardi Gras?
Roaming the streets, drunk, clueless.
What do you look like? Like what? I feel like everyone looks like they're crazy in costumes. So
Yeah, it's just
Don't wear a Hard Rock Cafe
know where you're
t-shirt.
going.
fanny
Know where you're
pack.
going. Just don't go walking down random dark streets, side streets, and stuff like that. You have to be safe, but I think that's anywhere you go. But going back to Universal, it's definitely a taste. It's Mardi Gras light, like we said earlier. It's a taste. It's family friendly. I can bring my kids. Strollers are great. Pushing strollers through Mardi Gras in New Orleans can be tough because it is packed. So this is a nice taste of it. And then go to the real one.
Yeah.
And
Well,
come find me. I'll throw you beads.
one day. Under your protection, maybe.
under your protection.
You got guns. I don't know if you take them out, but
I don't bring them there.
no. Okay. He doesn't got his guns.
This has gotten weird.
Oh, Lord.
Well, anything else to say?
I'm-
I love it. I love Mardi Gras. I look forward to it every year. I already said it's probably my favorite parade. It's hard to beat. It's just a great atmosphere. You don't have to be drinking to have fun there. Just go and enjoy it and catch some cheap penny beads, I guess.
And also continue your party into City Walk.
Yeah.
Go to Pat O'Brien's later that night. Make it a whole experience. It doesn't have to end right there after the parade or concert. Go to Pat O's. Have a hurricane. Or two.
Or 3. No.
And then a craft beer at the little booth outside.
Yeah, right.
And then a margarita at Tajitos.
Yeah, just make the whole round.
And then after that, you can just sleep there overnight. So that way you can be first in line to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter the next morning.
And then release your inner Wayne.
Yes. Okay, that's probably a good place to wrap it up. So I guess that's gonna be it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. If you like what we're doing, like it on YouTube, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff.
Write us funny comments.
Yeah.
We read them.
We do. We try to reply, but we're kind of bad at it. But we try.
Shaun.
Sha'un.
Sha'un will reply to you.
If you get a weird comment from someone named Sha'un, it's me.
But yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Not 1 week.
Yep, 2 weeks.
And I don't know what we'll talk about next, but I'm sure something else will happen. But,
Aren't you riding on a float?
Oh,
We are.
Yeah, we are going to ride on a float.
I
For
don't know if I
Saturday.
was saving that as a big surprise or anything or something.
I don't know. It's not too big of a surprise, but it's going to be fun.
Okay.
I'm excited for that.
All right.
We'll have, I don't know if we'll have video. We'll have something from it.
Yeah,
We'll at least
I
be
don't-
tweeting and doing photos and stuff from that. That'll be on Saturday, the 1st. We'll be on the Mardi Gras float.
I forgot about that. We should have talked
That's
about
kind of a big thing.
Well, we didn't really talk about Mardi Gras, so it's hard to remember.
We were way too busy talking about Robin Thicke.
Yeah, apparently he's getting divorced.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Well, we'll be back in 2 weeks for more coverage. Until then, Corey, thanks for joining us.
Yes,
and,
thank you. Our first guest.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Do I get my first guest button that I can wear next?
We'll make one, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Be that